We are joined by Mathius Muindi, an independent political risk analyst based right here in Nairobi, specializing on the Horn of Africa and Great Lakes regions. Mathius Muindi, thank you for joining us here on Africa Live. Please, let's dig into this particular story. Activists say scant progress has been made since the agreement was signed 3 months ago. Will the transitional government, let me ask you, be formed in November and include all the signatories to this peace deal?
That has been the biggest question, because when you look at when the peace agreement was signed last year, they were given 6 months to form it. They never formed it. Then they met in May this year. They were given another 6 months to form it. 3 months down the line, they have not formed it. So the question is, are they willing to form that before November? It's highly unlikely. So what the regional governments under IGAD are likely going to do, they are most likely going to insist on a face-to-face meeting between President Kiir and the main rebel leader to thrash out any serious issue, because they need this transitional government formed before November. Otherwise, the country's stability risks, deteriorating further.
Right. Here's what really concerns me. Parties to the peace deal say its implementation will cost a whopping $285 million. Now, it's only around $10 million that's been provided so far. It seems that there's not much support for this process. From your perspective, how do you see it?
There is not there's a political support for this process, but the financial support is something which has been lagging behind. And that absence of financial support is one of the factors contributing to the poor implementation of that agreement. So what we could see is IGAD might insist some of the external actors in Sudan, especially the guarantors, Western guarantors of the peace agreement, to try to give some of this money to make sure some of the key elements of the agreement are implemented, especially security sector reform. That is the core issue. And that remains stagnant because of absence of finances.
Well, it seems that there's so many issues that seem to be unanswered. Another question that's lingering is from the Independent Boundaries Commission. They're yet to decide the number of states the country should have. Can you talk to us about that?
Absolutely. That's another core issue which has not been resolved. Before the war started, South Sudan had 10 administrative states. In the middle of the war, President Kiir created 32 more, and that became another cause of the conflict. There has been a long-standing difference between the two sides about that issue, and it's not going to be solved anytime soon, because the Boundary Commission, which is supposed to do that, recommended let's revert to the 10 states, but there's not been a sign-off to that proposal. So the issue of the administrative states is going to linger in the background, and it'll continue driving the resentment and possibly the conflict in South Sudan in the near future.
I see. Well, so many questions, so little time. Mathius Muindi, thank you for joining us here on Africa Live. Hope to speak to you again really soon.